I wouldn't be hesitant at all to ask whoever it is for you guys, your city manager, your HR person, to say, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to go grab that link off the Ethics Commission's website and just do a gentle reminder. Hey, everybody, as we're doing summer hires, let's all be aware of this restriction. Let's not ever have any reason for somebody to doubt the dedication and the honesty of the folks who work for our city. Not required, but just not a bad idea, okay? Questions on contracts, nepotism, anything like that so far? Yes, sir.
What about in a scenario, hypothetically, that you became a public official and you had a child that worked for the city prior to?
Great question. The question was, I'll repeat it for the video. The question was, what if I become an elected official and my child had already been working for the city at the time I was elected? That's a great question. What that's called is a continuous course of dealing. Certainly that person is not required to terminate their employment. But what it does say is, if there's ever any reason that person in your family is somehow singled out, they're seeking a promotion and city council gets to weigh in on that, you're going to want to step back. Now, I will say this again does not mean that if your family member works for the city, that you have to abstain from things like voting on the general benefits package. This happens a lot in city councils, school boards, that happens a lot, where we're voting on the raises and the dental and the medical benefits of all of our employees. You don't have to abstain from that if it's sort of that across the board impact. But if that person in your family is somehow singled out for some benefit, for discipline, for demotion, promotion, you're going to want to stay far, far away from that. That's a great question. Other thoughts, questions, comments? Okay, then I did promise I'd touch just a little bit more here on the gift thing. There is no dollar amount in the ethics law for this gift thing. Some states have tried that. You might wonder, why don't you put a dollar amount in the law? That would make it easy, wouldn't it? Well, some states have tried that and have found that it doesn't work very well. Like, for example, if you had a state who put let's say $30, I'm just making that up, don't write that down, I'm just making a number up. Let's say you put a $30 limit in a law in like Idaho, I'll just pick a state. And then they say, oh good, we've solved all of our gift problems. No gray area, no room for interpretation, this is exactly what it is. And then they have someone in their state accept a gift worth $31. Well, you can see now what's happened. They have mandated that they must now begin an investigation, prosecution for a $1 violation. That's why dollar amounts don't always work well in statute. Dollar amounts, though, can work fine in policies. If your city has a policy about gifts, that's fine. The state of Ohio, this particular governor, every governor does things differently, but this particular governor has said to his public servants, that all those the cabinet branches that report to him, they have a $20 or 25, I'm forgetting now. So, thank you. That's their policy. That's not statute. That's their policy. Here's what I would tell you, though. Anytime you're doing policies at your city, you must make sure, talk to your city law director, they must be at least as stringent or more so than the ethics law. I once had a fire chief tell me, we were talking about nepotism, and he said, I'm really worried now, Susan. He said, we do not have a nepotism policy in our city. Should we have one? And I said, well, you can if you want, but the fact that you don't have a policy never exempted you from following what the law says about policy. So remember, the ethics law is still going to trump any policy. So you couldn't put into your policy, okay, folks, don't take anything worth more than $500, because the ethics law is going to say, no, that's substantial, that's not de minimis or nominal, et cetera. You can use whatever gauge you want. Just, this is not in the statute, so don't write this down. You know what mine kind of is? Because I have no issue with grabbing a cookie and a cup of tea out here in the back, because we know that's nominal, de minimis. I kind of have this gauge in my mind of, is it more than a Bob Evans lunch? That's just me. That's just my comfort level, because I work for the Ethics Commission. I'm probably a little more cautious than the average American, I'll grant you. Even like if you've ever gone to an Applebee's or a hotel where they've got the fishbowl out and you can put your business card in, they draw names for, I am keenly aware, maybe that's not illegal for me to do that, but I'm keenly aware that my business card just happens to have the words Ohio Ethics Commission on it. I just love people to be looking in the fishbowl going, hey, look who's trying to get a free lunch. This is interesting. So, I would say, again, you might want to follow your own kind of gut there, sort of thing. But I admit I probably tend to be more cautious than the average person as a result. I guess here's what I'd say to you then in the time we have left, and I'll take any questions that you may have. I hope that you never see the ethics law as an impediment to the efficacy of your government. That's not our goal. It's our goal that you would look at the ethics law as a safeguard, that people would say, here's some clear boundaries. And you know what? If you want to make me the bad guy in any situation in your city, I'm good with that. I don't have huge shoulders, but I can handle it from Columbus. If you say, not my fault, this ethics lady came and told us I can't hire you, son. Sorry. I'm okay if you want to make me the bad guy in a situation in your city. But here's what I'd say. Take advantage of these resources that we have available to you. Questions, comments, concerns, challenges? Yes, sir.
On the ethics statement that we ought to file by April 15th.
Yes.
There's a slot that says for council members who make under a certain amount.
Right.
Council members who make over a certain amount.
16,000, right.
16,000. I know it says you have to disclose any gifts of value of over $75. We don't have a policy in our city. I kind of adopted the governor's. It's anything over $25. I won't take, and if for some reason I did, I put it on the statement. So can you speak to that issue?
Sure. The question is, and really, if you don't mind me, really, let me do the question first. The question is, on our financial disclosure forms, is everybody here a filer? Pretty much everybody. Yeah, okay, everybody's a filer. Okay, on the financial disclosure form, there's those sections of reporting gifts. And, for some folks it's 75, for some it's 500 if you make less than 16,000 a year. Okay. All right, so what if, though, in my personal policy is that I don't take any gift, or I try to keep it under $20? Well, certainly, if you truly, and know here, too, your immediate family is exempt from that. You do not have to write down that your wife gave you a watch that was more than, certainly your immediate family is exempt anyway. But here's the thing. If you truly have said, I won't take gifts from anybody because I just don't want anybody to question, other than my wife, my kids, my parents, but I don't take gifts from friends, I don't take them from vendors, then I would just say to you, if you truly have nothing to report, here's the thing I tell you. There's a little box that says, I have nothing to report. Check the box. If you don't check the box, you're getting the form back from us and it's incomplete. I know people sometimes are like, well, if I left it blank, isn't that obvious? Well, we're just following the statute that you have to answer the question, so we give you an opportunity to answer the question. But here's the thing, though. Not every time you take a gift more than $75 is that a bad thing, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, let's say that your college roommate, you've been friends for years and years and years, and today he lives in Colorado, and he says to you, why don't you come out over Thanksgiving? We own a condo in Aspen, we'll go skiing. Now, is your friend an improper source in any way doing business with the city that you represent? My guess is probably not. If he's living in Colorado, there's nothing to do. So are you allowed to accept that gift, that free stay at a condo? Sure, you're allowed to accept it, but if you do, all you're gonna do is just list his name. He was the source of a gift worth more than that amount. It doesn't make it bad, it doesn't make it evil, it just means that you're keeping the track of those things. But if you truly have nothing to report on any of them, the investments, the income, the debtors, the creditors, just check the box just make sure you've answered every question. The form that you filled out this year, you'll notice was a little bit different. What we're trying to do, and there are bugs that we're working out. We used to have two forms, and some were for elected, some were for state folks. We're trying to meld that into one to make it easier for both our filers and for the process of actually tracking them all as well. And if your next question is when are we going to have online filing, believe me, it can't come too quickly for us either. We would love online filing. We've had our budget cut significantly in the past few years. That was in our track. We were on our way to online filing, and that money was taken away from us. So just keep your fingers crossed that does happen when the economy kind of rebounds, because we'd love to have online filing as well. Other questions, comments?